Tonight, before you sleep, you'll turn off a light. And for just a moment, some small part of you won't want to. Maybe you'll walk a little faster up the stairs. Maybe you'll leave the hallway lamp on. Maybe, without thinking, you'll pull your foot up onto the bed, away from the edge, away from the dark underneath it. You're an adult. You know there's nothing there. You've checked. There's never anything there. And the feeling doesn't care what you know. Because you are not afraid of the dark. You're afraid of what your ancestors learned across 2 million years was waiting inside it. That fear didn't begin in your childhood. It began in theirs. For almost all of human history, night wasn't a mood. It was the single most dangerous stretch of every day. Look at what you are. You're a daytime animal. Your eyes are built for color and sharp detail in bright sun, and in low light, they're nearly useless. You lose color first, then edges, until a bush and a crouching animal look exactly the same. Now think about who you shared the night with. Lions, leopards, hyenas. Almost every animal that hunted us hunts better in the dark than we see in it. When the sun went down, the world stopped belonging to us and started belonging to them. We don't like to picture ourselves this way, but for most of our story, humans weren't the top of the food chain. We were on the menu. One of the most famous early human fossils, a child, nearly 2 million years old, has 2 puncture marks in its skull that match, almost perfectly, the lower fangs of a leopard. That child was carried into the dark and eaten. This happened, generation after generation, for longer than we can really imagine. And the ones who survived to have children had something in common. They were the ones who felt a cold spike of fear when the light failed, and got to safety. Calm in the dark got you killed. Afraid of the dark kept you alive long enough to pass on being afraid of the dark. Here's the strange part. The fear isn't spread evenly across a life. It's loudest in the small. Almost every child in every culture on Earth becomes afraid of the dark somewhere around age 3, and it peaks before they're 10. Nobody teaches them this. It arrives on schedule, like baby teeth. And evolutionarily, that makes brutal sense. For a hunting cat, a small, slow, soft human child in the dark was the easiest meal in the world. The children who froze and cried for a grown-up, who refused to be left alone in the black, were the children who survived. The fearless ones, statistically, didn't come back. So the fear isn't childish. It's the opposite. It's a 2-million-year-old survival reflex, switched on hardest exactly when a human is most vulnerable. Your childhood fear of the dark was your ancestors keeping you alive through you. And then we found the one thing that changed it. Fire. A fire is a wall you can't see through from the outside, and can see out of from within. It throws maybe 30 feet of flickering safety into the dark. Predators learned to respect that edge. For the first time, there was a place at night that was ours again. But fire did something stranger than keep us safe. It gave us the night back, not for sleeping, but for each other. Around that small circle of light, faces glowed orange against the black. People stayed up. They talked. And the dark, pressed right up against the edge of the firelight, became the place where every story about monsters was first told. The thing in the shadows, just beyond the fire, that's older than every myth. The myths came from it. Now here's why you, specifically, still feel it. A sound in the night, a creak, a footstep, a branch, wakes you faster than almost anything else. You're conscious before you've even decided to be. Heart already going. That's not random. That's a threat detector in your brain that evolution refused to switch fully off, because for your ancestors, the cost of sleeping through a real predator was everything. And that system follows one rule. When something is ambiguous in the dark, assume the worst. A shape that's probably a rock, but might be a hyena. Your brain doesn't wait for certainty. It floods you with fear first, and lets you feel embarrassed later. Think of it like a smoke alarm. A smoke alarm that occasionally shrieks at burnt toast is annoying. A smoke alarm that stays quiet to be polite gets you killed. Evolution built you the loud one. Every false alarm in the dark is that ancient system choosing correctly that looking foolish beats being eaten. So why hasn't it faded now that the leopards are gone? Because evolution is slow, and the modern world is fast. For 2 million years, the dark meant death. We've had bright, safe, lockable nights for, 100 years? A few hundred? That's nothing. That's not enough time to unwrite instinct. So you're left running predator detection software in a carpeted bedroom. The hardware is still scanning for a threat that, for you, almost certainly isn't coming. The fear is real. The danger just retired a long time before your wiring got the message. Which means the next time you feel it, that prickle when the lights go out, that need to not let your hand hang off the side of the bed, try not to be embarrassed by it. Because that feeling is not weakness, and it was never really childish. It's the oldest, most loyal part of you. It's 2 million years of mothers and children and firelight, all of whom were afraid at exactly the right moments, standing quiet guard over a threat that's already gone. You're not afraid of the dark. You're remembering, in the only language your body still has, every ancestor who survived it. And that part of you is still there. It always will be.